In this video, I am going to teach very basic concepts of Java programming. If you already knew some of other languages like C, C++, Python, you might find it easy to understand. So first of all, let's create a file, name first. Here, we used to write our code inside a class. This is the syntax for a class where class name should be same as your file name. Now inside class, we need method. This is main method. This is basic syntax of a Java program. So let's understand how to print statements in Java. To print something in Java, we use something like this: system.out.println hello world, and make sure to place a semicolon after that. Now this is the syntax to print something in Java. Let's try to run it. We can see hello world is printed here. Now here we can also use print only. This ln creates a new line. Let's understand it. So if I write another line after this hello world without using any backspace and a new line character, we can see this print ln already creates a new line. Here we can see there is a new line after hello world, and if I remove this ln from here, and now try to run the code, then no new line is created here. I hope you understand the difference between print and println. So this is how we print something in Java. And if we are printing a string like this one, we always use this type of inverted commas. In Java, if we use this single quote, then it will give us error. Let's move on to data types. So in Java, we have both primitive and non-primitive data types. Primitive data types include int, long, char, double, float, etc. And reference or non-primitive data types are those which we use to build using the primitive ones. Example, a string. So let's understand the method of using data types in Java. First of all, we need to declare the data type which we are going to use. So let's say I want to create a variable I of integer type. Then I will use something like this: int variable name and its value. Let's say 3. So this will create an integer I with value 3. Similarly, we can use double b is equal to a with very large number of integers after it. Then we have float also. The basic difference between double and float is that in double we use 64 bits of size and float takes only 32 bits. And to declare it as a float, we need to add a small f or capital F after the number. It's optional for double. Now we have long also. It take a very long large integer value. Similarly, here integer will have 32 bit size and long can have 64 bits of size. We have to add L after long. We have char also. Char is used for storing a single alphabet like this. I can store A. You can store A, B, C, D, any single alphabet, and make sure to use these codes. So now these were some primitive data types. Let's talk about string, which is a reference data type. String data type. String will give it some name. That's a name. It can store multiple alphabets or multiple words like this one. Strings are built using multiple chars. Let's print these variables. So note here, to print a variable we don't need this code. Just simply write the name of variable. Example, here we have I as a variable, so we can just pass I here. Let's see its value. Yeah, we get value for I. Similarly, we can do this for other variables. So this was all about data types which you need to know right now. Let's move on to operators. So operators are very useful. If you already know some other basic programming languages, then you might have already used them earlier. Operators include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, incremental, decremental, logical and logical OR. These are some most commonly used operators. Let's understand them. These are the functionalities of these operators. This multiply operator will multiply these both numbers. This addition operator will give us addition of this number. Similarly, this subtract division. And this one is important. It's called modulus operator. It will give us remainder after dividing A from B. This is postfix incremental operator. It will increment the value of A. This will decrement the value of B by 1. So here are the results. This is for multiplying of 5 and 2, addition, subtraction, division, and then modulus, incrementing, and decrementing. So here we can see actually what we did is incremented value of A, which was earlier 5, but here in output we see it's still 5. That's because this is postfix incrementing. Here it prints A and then increment its value. So if now we check the value of A, here we can see A is incremented by 1 and B is decremented by 1. Similarly, if we want to print the value of A after incrementing, then we can use prefix incrementer like this. Now it will print A after doing these operations. Here we can see 6 and 1, 6 and 1. So these are some basics about operators. Now let's move on to string operations or string methods. In string we can do various operations, like to find an alphabet on particular index we use char at, and to convert the letters of string into uppercase we use to uppercase method. Similarly, to convert all the letters of a string into lowercase we use to lowercase. And there are so many other string methods which we can use. Let's see them. So we have already created a name string here. Let's do some operations on this name string. Just write the variable name and apply a period or dot, and it will give us a list of methods which we can use. So you can see there are so many methods we can try here: to uppercase, to trim, to get class, split, and so many. So first of all, let's try caret. And indexing starts from 0. Here we will say the C is written at index number 0. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, and this space also counts, which is at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's say we want to print this D, which is at index number 2, 0, 1, and 2. Let's print D. So we can use something like this. Here we can say D is printed. Now let's try to convert all these letters of name to uppercase. We will use this to uppercase method. And after doing that, we want to print our name. Okay, so here we can see our letters in string are all converted to uppercase. They are all in capitals. Here we don't need to print it again. It will give us output automatically. So we can use now lowercase and see the outputs. So first of all, it converts all these letters of string into uppercase, and then we can see two lowercase converts them into all lowercase. So these are some very basic string methods. We can try out more string methods. For now, let's move on to there is also something known as concatenation. So a plus or addition operator is used to concatenate two strings. Here concatenation means just uh, adding two strings to make it a one string, like this one. We have a string name, and we can add some other string to it using this concatenation operator. Let's say world. What this will do is it will print, first of all, print the name, which is called hello, and after that it will print this world. Here we can see code hello, and then world is added after it. This is also a very important operator for concatenating two strings. Let's move on to next thing, which is getting inputs from user. So we have seen how to print or getting an output in Java. Now it's time to learn how to give it inputs. So to get inputs in Java, we have something called scanner. We can name it like SC or scan or something else. New scanner system dot in. And to use scanner, first of all, we need to import it. For importing it, we can simply write import java dot util dot scanner, or we can just simply put down this operator to get everything inside this java.util package. For now, we just need scanner, so I'll write a scanner instead. Now our scanner is imported. To use this scan, first of all, let's say we want to give inputs as integers. So we can use something like this int and give a name to your input like int, and use scan dot next int for taking an integer input from user. Here it's asking us for entering a number. Let's give it a number 8. Now we can see it gives back us the answer, you entered 8. So this is how we take integer inputs. Similarly, if we want to take like string or char inputs, we can simply use string scan dot Next line, let's try this one also. So let's write hi. It will give us back hi. Similarly, we have different methods for taking char, double, long, etc. Now let's move on to conditional statements. First of all, let's learn about if-else statements. These are very useful. So write an if-else statement. First of all, we use the if keyword, then these parentheses, and inside these parentheses we write our condition which we want to check. Let's say here we have an integer I whose value is equal to 3. So let's make something a condition, check if I is equal to 3. To check whether an integer is equal to this integer or not, we use this equal operator 2 times. We will simply print if statement is true or something like this. What this will do is it will return true if I is equal to 3, or otherwise it will return false. So how if else statement works is, if this condition is true, then this statement will get executed. So here we have I is equal to 3, so this will become true and this will get printed. Now after checking if this statement is false, then we can check for another condition, else if only gets checked if this if statement is false. So let's say if I is equal to 5, then just print this. And if these both conditions or everything above this else statement is false, then this else statement will get executed. Let's start to run it. I forgot to comment it. Yeah, here we can see our result if statement is true. So here we already know that I is equal to 3, so this statement gets executed. If we do something like that, instead of 3 we write 5 here and 3 here, 5 or any other value also we can write which is not equal to 3, then this statement will not get executed and compiler will check if this statement is true or not. We can see here I is equal to 3, so this statement is true, this will get executed. If this one is also false, then compiler will execute this statement. You can say else if statement is executed. So this was all about if else statements. I hope you understand it. Switch cases. So here we can see we are using if else if else. If we have so much if else if statements, then instead of using them we can use switch statements which are easy to read and convenient. So here in switch statement we use something like this, a switch keyword, and then inside parentheses we write the expression we will check for I, and inside this curly braces we will write our cases. Case 1, this means if the value of this expression I is equal to this 1, then this case will get executed. After writing the statements inside case, we always use a break keyword to get out of this case statement. Now we will write another case. Let's say we want to check for 2 also, and we can use something like this, and this will check if value of I is equal to 2. Here in our case it's 3, so it's not equal to 2, so this statement will also not get executed. Now we can check for another case like 3. So we know that I value is equal to 3, so this statement will get executed. We have something known as default also. What default will do is, if all these cases conditions doesn't match to this expression, then this default will get executed. So let's say here we have I is equal to greater than 3, then this default statement will get executed, and it will not match any of these 1, 2, 3. Let's check its output. Here we can see case 3 is printed because value of I is equal to 3. And let's see for default statement also, and make changes to I. Still it's a case 3. Is it? Oh, I forgot to change this default statement. Now it will print default. So I hope you understand what default does. Now let's come to loops. So we have 3 types of loops: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. First, understand what is for loop. So if you want to iterate for some given number of times, we can use for loop. Let's say if we want to execute the same condition for 10 times, then we can use something like this: for int I is equal to 0. This will declare a variable I whose value is equal to 0, and to print it 10 times we use I less than 10. Here 10 is not inclusive as it starts from 0, so it will get executed for I is equal to 0 to 9, and on every step we are incrementing the value of I by 1. Here it's giving us some error because we already have a variable named I. We can use another variable like j. Now to check whether it works or not, let's print a statement, and here we can just print the value of j also. Let's see the output. Here we can see this for loop. What this for loop does is it will print the value of j 10 times. So every time when we started with j is equal to 0, so value of j, which is 0 right now, got printed. Now value of j got incremented by 1, so j becomes 1. It checks whether j is less than 10. Yes, 1 is less than 10, so this will get printed. Here is 1. Now again it will increment, it will become 2. It will check again, 2 is less than 10. If yes, then it will print. Similarly, it will print till j is equal to 9. When j becomes 10, it will get outside because 10 is not less than 10. Okay, so this was useful when we already know how much number of time we want to execute this for loop, or we already knew, like here we know we want to print it for 10 times. Now let's move on to a while loop. So in while loop, we initially we don't know how many of number of times we are going to execute the program or execute these statements. So we start with some initial variable, let's say here k, which is equal to 0, and we want to print the statement or execute till k doesn't become, let's say, 20. While k less than 20, what we can do is we can try printing out value of k. And in while loop we can see there is no incrementing inside this condition. As we can see here, j plus plus, which increments j by 1. You can also use here j plus equal to or 3 if we want to increment it by 3 every time. We can use something like this. In while loop we have to manually give it the incrementing condition. Let's say choose here k plus is equal to 2. So this plus is equal to means k is equal to k plus 2. So add 2 in value of k. Now if we check here, we will start from k is equal to 0. We will print the value of k and we will increment the value of k by 2 every time. So while k is less than 20, we will print this statement, and when k is greater than or equal to 20, we will get out of this loop. Let's try to run it. Here we can see this was for for loop and here it's for while loop. You can see 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and so on till 18. We did not print for 20 because we already give condition of k to be less than 20, not equal to 20. So this is how a while loop works. Now here in while loop, if we notice, then first of all we are comparing this value of this variable k before printing this statement. But what happens in do while is we say something like this: do in do while we use something like this. We will initially we don't check what's the value of variable, or we don't check the condition, and we simply execute the first condition. Here we will come and do this. So here x value is 20, so 20 will get printed, and then x value will be incremented by 2, which becomes 22, and after that our condition for while is getting checked. So here x is, which is 22, is not less than 20, so this do statement will not work. We will get out of this loop. But here what we did is we first check if this condition is true, then only we print. But here if this condition is already false, then it will execute this statement at least once. Let's check its output. Here we can see this was for while loop and this is for do while. It already prints 20 first, then it will check for the value of x. I hope you understand the difference between do while and while. These were the very basic things, concepts which you need to know to start programming in Java. Now we also have arrays in Java. So arrays store values of same data type. Like to store values of integers, we make an array like int, array name, square brackets, and then either we can write our integer values inside these curly braces, or we can also declare new array using the new keyword and give it some length. Let's say we want to create an array name arr1 of length 5. You can simply do like this. So arrays are also very useful. We will get to learn about array list, etc. in coming lectures. Here we can see indexing of arrays also start with 0. So this 23 is at index number 0, this 4 is at index number 1, and 2, 3, 4 similarly. So we also have array operations. Like we use in string, we can also use operations for array. To check length of array, we will write array name dot length. It will print the length of array, which is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To add an element at a given position, we will give the array name and then in square brackets give the index where you want to store the element. In our case, let's store 35 at index 2 of arr1, 20, you can directly print element at specific index by giving the array name and passing the index. Let's match the given answer. Here we are saying at index number 4 of ARR value is 54. So index 4 is this one and here value is 54. Similarly for index 2 it's 52, and for ARR 1 we assign the values 35 and 20, which are printed over here. So these were some basic array concepts. We will learn about array list in later upcoming videos. Now let's move on to methods. So what are methods? Here we are seeing for the strings we have used these methods which have some functioning. For example, this upper to uppercase method will convert all the letters of a string to uppercase. Similarly, these char at lowercase methods have their different functioning. So we can also create our own methods in Java, and to create a method just write this. Here we have to give the return type. If we are going to return int, value, float, double, or if we are not going to return anything, just simply use volt. So let's take an example of returning an int and now give a name to our method. Let's say if we want to create a method for addition. Here inside parentheses we can either give some parameters or we can leave it empty. Let's give it a parameter integer a, and what this method will do is we are returning a plus 5. So whenever we pass an integer to this method, we will get output as the addition of 5 and that number. Let's try to run it. Store the value of that method result in result variable, and now to call a method, pass its name and parameter. It should give us 15. Yeah, so it's working properly. This is all about method. We can directly call it also instead of storing result in a variable. So that's all for this video. We have covered all the very basics which one needs to know before writing programs in Java. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you loved watching it. And in my upcoming videos, I will make detailed lecture on important topics you need to know in Java, like array list, hash mappings, linked list, etc. Thank you for now.